Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Adelina and I make videos about living in this tiny house on wheels and living a more intentional life. So today I'm doing something kind of fun because, you know, why not? And I'm craving something sweet. And I was reading this article in Southern Living the other day, well, online, that happened to be in Southern Living, and it was all about the rich history of Southern soda cakes. Now, for those of you in the South, in the US, and maybe even other parts of the world, you might be very familiar with soda cakes. I had never heard anything about them. And I was reading this and I was thinking, what a great idea. First of all, it just makes things super simple. And for those of you who are still eating eggs, you know how expensive those are right now. This is a way to make a cake without having to use eggs and to use an inexpensive box mix. You could also use this with your own cake recipe and just use this as the liquid. I haven't tried that, but I haven't tried this either, so we're going to try this together. Reading the article, I thought this was really interesting because it talked about this book called The Jemima Code, 2 Centuries of African American Cookbooks. I guess that's either a book or a study. I think that's a book. Anyways, in there it talks about the history of these soda cakes and how they came into being during the war when ingredients were scarce and that the recipes tended to be geared towards where these sodas were manufactured. What I mean was, it says here that Coca-Cola was used for cakes in Georgia because Coca-Cola was made there. They used Coca-Cola. In Texas, it was Dr. Pepper. That was the favored one. 7-Up for Missouri. Cheer wine for North Carolina. And Nehi for Georgia. Never heard of those two. It says here it was invented by home cooks in response to wartime sugar rationing and fierce marketing by manufacturers. I mean, they got smart. They knew that if this was something that could be used in baking, they could sell more of them. So I'm going to use that today. I'm going to try that. Now, I got this Betty Crocker cake mix at the dollar store. Not all Betty Crocker cake mixes are vegan, but a lot of them are accidentally vegan. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use this Zevia soda as our soda. We call it pop here in Canada, and this is black cherry. Now, I normally buy ginger ale, which I actually think might probably be better with a vanilla cake. If I was making chocolate, I would probably use Coca-Cola. Or maybe I would just use whatever was in my fridge. But the reason I like the Zevia soda is because it's made with stevia as the sweetener versus sugar. So I buy this whenever I can. But we're going to mix these two together. It's as simple as that. There is no other ingredients. And then you bake it according to the box. So let's get started. It tells us to put our glasses on, is what it tells us to do. Alrighty then, to quote another famous Canadian. So it says here to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to do that. I want to use this rectangular dish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it. Oh, I can take these off now so you don't see the ring light. I'm going to spray this, and then I'm going to dust it with a little bit of the cake mix. That's a little secret I learned from my mom to get things not to stick. Just use a little bit of what the dry ingredients of what you're making are. You guys have to let me know down below whether you've ever made a soda cake, a pop cake, as I'm about to call it. Because I think this is just such a fun thing. And really, how fast is this? And a great thing to make with your kids or grandkids. Whoops. So I'm just going to dust this on here. I'll do it over the bowl. Whoops. Making a mess, of course, because it wouldn't be a Natalina recipe if I didn't make a bit of a mess, would it now? All right. So now we've got our cake pan greased and floured, or in this case, we've used the mix. This is really not even a recipe. It's more of an experiment is what this is. Okay, took a little pause to let the oven heat up because I had forgotten to preheat it like I usually do. All right, so it's as simple as taking your box mix, mixing it in with a full can of pop soda, and then just mixing it together, pouring it into your pan, and away we go. I guess makes sense, right? Because there's carbonation in here, so it takes the place of leavening agents. It would add extra, I would think, because the mix is going to have some baking soda or baking powder or some sort of a leavening agent in it. Don't know. But, I mean, I guess I'm overly thrilled by this idea. I just think it's the coolest thing ever. So, I can't believe I did not know these things were a thing. All right, so we're going to open this up and pour this in. It says the whole can. Seems like a lot of liquid to me. And now we mix this up. Gosh, this seems like a lot of liquid. Really? If this doesn't work, I guess I have pudding. Okay. All right. I mean, makes sense. Seems to be working. So let's pour it in here. That looked like a lot more liquid than this mix would take, but it actually turned out to be really fluffy, really foofy. So I'm going to stick this in the oven, and we are going to let that cook for the proper time on the box, which is, for a rectangular cake, 28 to 33 minutes. I will see you back here when it comes out. Let's hope it works. Okay, so the timer's gone off. It's been in there for about 30, just over 30 minutes because I checked it at 28. And I'm gonna pull it out. It smells really good. And it looks very good. It's all cooked. Making little popping sounds. I don't know what that's all about. I'm going to let it cool, and then we'll be back to cut it and give it a taste. I have tried to be patient, but I am just dying to see how this is. So I don't know what this was for, but so we're going to cut this and we're going to give it a try. Now, I don't normally ice my cakes because I figure they're sweet enough, and given that we added a whole can of pop to this, it definitely added some of the sweetness. But obviously you could let this cool and ice it. I figure if it's not iced, there's less guilt in eating an extra piece. Oh, the things that we do to fool ourselves. Okay, so we're going to cut this. It's definitely cooked. It looks nice and moist. I don't know what to say here. I really don't. Okay, let's oh yeah, it's nice and crumbly. Look at that. Can you see the steam coming up over top of that? But it's definitely cooked. It's still pretty hot, obviously. I probably should have let this cool off a little bit longer. But if you've ever watched one of my recipes, you know I don't have a lot of patience. It is so fluffy. That's the only word I can use to describe it. It's a cake. I don't taste the black cherry pop soda. I think it's obviously a little sweeter than it would be without the pop. But these Zevia pops sodas are not as sweet tasting as regular soda. And I think that's probably good. I'd be really interested to make a lemon cake with their version of the lemon lime soda. And obviously chocolate cake with either a Dr. Pepper or a cola. One of the things I really love about this brand is that there's no color, so they're all clear. So they haven't added any dyes to make the pops a different color. This is just remarkable. So if you have cake mixes sitting in your pantry, if you see them on sale, the dollar store often has either off brands, or the Betty Crocker are almost always at the Dollar Tree or the dollar store in my part of the world. So for very little, you know, $1.25, $1.50, you can get a cake mix and combine it with a soda and have dessert fast and easy. I don't know why I'm so excited about this. For those of you who have been doing this forever, I apologize for how excited I am about this, but my God, how simple is that? Let me know if this is something you've known about for ages and have been doing for ages, and you're rolling your eyeballs at me for being so excited about this, but I am excited. I was craving something sweet. And when I read that article, I thought, oh my God, I have to try this and I have to share it with you. Those of you, well, with you in general, but for those of you who've never heard of this, like, this is so cool. It's so easy. And again, great for letting kids bake, grandkids, all of those sorts of things. Okay, so I'm going to put this down and eat my dinner first before I finish that piece as my dessert. Anyways, guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe. Remember, in a world where you can be anything, eat good food, be kind. I love you, and I'll see you next time. I'll just pause and wait till Sophie finishes her business. We want to be polite.